We are the authors of the book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, 10 Secrets to Shape a Great Marriage. We want you to have a great marriage, a great marriage. We've been married going on 36 years, haven't had an argument in over 33 years. Let me tell y'all, I might as well tell you, every time I look at her, I start laughing.
Laughter is good for the heart.
You see the little things on her eye. I told her, y'all remember there was a television there was a television show called My Favorite Martian. She's my favorite Martian. Take me to your leader.
I don't care. These are my pigtails today.
Got the little Martian and the big old glasses. My wife is, and you don't know what's going to be the hairstyle, what color. When she comes down, I'm always here waiting. And when she comes out, I don't know what I'm going to get.
Keeps the romance alive, or at least it makes you laugh.
Danny McCrinnan is here. What's up, Danny? And Moses, hey fam.
Hey.
Mark Stevens, Moses Vincent, Sharon, yes. Yeah, she had COVID. Whole house, Brian, Emerson, and Alexa had COVID in December. All okay, nothing more than worse than they had real bad. But we're glad you're better, not sick, not dead. And we're trying to pray for people.
Fortunate.
You're praying, yeah. Well, we're grateful that we had our first shot of the vaccine, and we are grateful.
Moderna, and we get the next week.
Yeah,
that's a month.
Yeah, we're about a week off. Well, next week.
Next week.
About 7 days from now, I'll have my second shot, and I'm looking forward to it. And so, no, Moses, no doghouse. She's cute still. I love her. He said, might like be a doghouse moment. I talked about you're my favorite Martian. But no, this is part of what keeps our marriage fresh is we have humor. And humor is an incredible part of marriage.
He makes me laugh most of the time, but I make him laugh because of my behavior.
Yes.
And I just laugh at him.
We laugh. My son, when he was here in the house, he's now in the area. He used to live in New York, and then he was in California. Then he came back to the area, and he lived here with us for a while. But now he's got another living space. And so, once COVID hit, we shut it down. So, but he would come in and say, in the middle, 11, 12 o'clock, what are y'all in here giggling about? And we'd be in there laughing, giggling.
Because they say your father's funny.
Well, you funny too. You make me laugh. Nobody knew she had a sense of humor. Let's talk about this. We're going to talk tonight about your words. Words. Roses, or do they hit like a rock? Mm. And this is
because the goal is you always want to positively influence your mate.
So we have had conversations over the years, the last few years, as we were preparing the book. Sandra, I got to welcome Sandra and the new listeners. Thank you, Sandra Floyd Miller. Welcome from Delaware. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome to all the new listeners on IG and on Facebook Live. And I want to thank y'all for sharing with your friends. We are so grateful for all of you who shared.
I think we picked up some new listeners because we've been doing a lot of radio.
Yeah, we've been doing
for the last couple of days, actually, like 1 or 2 a day.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of radio interviews.
Because of Love Month, you think?
Well, Love Month, Black History Month, both going, but more I think Love Month. But we've been talking about this book and how we want to help more marriages improve, enhance, enrich. And this is our goal. That's why we started. That's why we take out every Monday night, put it on our calendar with all I got. I got an XM show I got to prepare. I got a Radio 1 show. I got speeches.
Okay, that's what you do for a living.
I did 2 speeches, one today and one on Friday for keynotes. So let's get to it. Roses or rocks? Roses.
What comes out of your mouth?
And how does it come out of your mouth? Not just what comes out of your mouth. How does it come out of your mouth? Critically important. Had a call with a friend, and she said, my husband and I are separating. And I said, what's wrong? She said, well, we like each other. We're friends. We're amicable. But we have this issue with communication. We've been telling y'all since we started, there are 3 boulders that break up marriages. sex, money, and communication. And of the three, the most important one you would think might be sex. No, not my money. No, it's communication. Because if you have an issue with communication, you're unable or unable to communicate effectively about the sex issues or about the money issues so you can get them fixed. And that is why we say your words have to be thought through,
All
your
right, let's get
communication.
back to your friend.
Well, she said that they were separating. And I said,
Because
because of communication issues. And I said, you know what? Here's what I said. Most marriages break up because of something that might have been a hairline fracture that was not dealt with, and somebody let it go or didn't handle it or didn't address it or didn't know how to address it effectively. My girl, the real Doreen Rainey Vale is on. Doreen Vale. Mohawk
hi,
Blonde is in.
Doreen.
We love Doreen, one of the great singers. But they didn't address that little hairline fracture. You could so small you could hardly see it until it became a chasm. And what we want to do is get you to stop making that mistake, because many marriages break up over those little teeny things that are not addressed. So we know that we had another couple that we actually met with soon after the book came out. Now the book's been out over a year, and they talked ugly to each other. Just ugly to each other. And they ended up,
they talk nice to us.
yeah, but
We actually went into their house.
we went to their house, yeah. And
But that's a pattern. Because they would speak nice to us, and then when they would talk to each other, it was ugly.
yep, it was ugly.
And I don't really think that they were aware of how they were actually speaking to each other because they'd done it so long.
Right. It had an edge to it. It had a meanness to it.
That's
And
a good word.
That's the word, meanness. It was a meanness. So how are you going to say what you got to say, and what are you going to say? So there's some things we wanted to caution you about. One is speaking before you think. This is bad. That's not a good idea. You got to think about what you're going to say and how you're going to say it. You really have to roll it around in your mind. And I must say, my wife is an expert at that. She's an expert.
Rolling stuff around in my head.
Well, thinking about, and it came from when I was a jazz singer. When 30 years ago now. I've been speaking 30 years this year. But 30 years ago, I was making the transformation from a jazz singer who would make it up as I went along to become a speaker. And
So
initially,
let me translate. So what that meant for me, because I wasn't exposed to jazz or any other kind of music other than gospel music.
Right.
And when I started visiting you, because we had one car,
Right.
and I would take you and then come back and pick you up 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I watched you with this singing, and you would start going one way, and then you would just in the middle switch to something else.
Right.
And which is what I call jazz speak.
Well, that was jazz singing, and then when I started speaking,
You were doing jazz speak.
I was doing jazz speak, which where I would make a U-turn without a signal, make a left turn. And what it was I was speaking before I had thought it through. And what she said to me, and here's what was important. She knew that I was developing my confidence as a speaker. I needed to develop. So before she would critique or criticize me, she would think about how she would say it. And she might say, that was a really good point.
I would say something affirming. How about that word?
So you start with something positive before you...
And that might be really very difficult. I can say that can be really very difficult.
Well, you got to find something. You got to find
what
something.
What do you think? I mean, sometimes it's just like, you have just gotten on my last nerve. I can't go on with this. I have got to find something positive so that I can approach you.
Right.
But that's a learned thing.
So she would think about it. She would roll it around in her head before she would say...
And he can say that because we've talked about that
Right.
so much that I knew that this bread and butter that you were bringing home to pay the mortgage note and everything was initially the singing and everything. And as you progressed into the speaking, I couldn't shatter your ego by saying, what in the world are you doing?
Right, right.
In
Now,
the middle of a thought.
Moses asked a
change.
powerful question. How can someone marry a nasty speaking person? You know what? It happens every day, Moses. People marry for all sorts of, chapter number 1, we talk about friends first, because we say people marry for all sorts of reasons. They marry because somebody had a fancy car, somebody had some money, somebody had a big breast or a big butt, or somebody had was handsome. They marry for so many reasons.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Moses, I think that when we are dating, in many instances, we put on our best clothing.
Woo, that's good. That's good.
Which includes the words that we use. I think we're much more careful of what we say when we're dating because we want to put our best foot forward. And then when you are in a pandemic, this is the first time this thing has happened in our lifetime.
Yeah.
You have no place to go to scream and unwind. And you are now stuck, if you want to call it, with this person. So you don't have a chance to filter out anything.
So Sandra just asked a question. What about the nasty facial expressions, looks versus nasty words? Oh, goodness. Instagram went south on us. I don't know why. Oh, but I'm going to fix it.
Okay.
I'm going to fix it. There we go. I don't know where it happened.
Okay.
I don't know why it went out. But anyway.
I said yes, dear. People don't know how to. Yes.
Yeah. People don't know how to show their true side till later in a relationship. But here's the thing. Is the fact that we want to give you some answers on things to do. One of the things we recommend people not do, talking out of anger. Talking out of anger. They're angry and they talk out of that anger moment. And then when they talk out of that anger moment, they'll say things that
you can't take back.
You can't take them back. It's critically important that you think about it before you say it.
You know, before we were talking about this, before the start of the program, and I was saying it all comes down to a level of discipline that I think most of us.
So let's tell a story what happened to us.
Very hard.
Tell us, what happened to us. She hired a consultant to...
With your approval, after much...
And I said, how much is it going to cost? And she
set up a database. And Lynn can relate to that because Lynn is in.
And she said it was going to cost, let's say it's going to cost $700. Now, that's what I'm making at this point as speaking. I'm making $700, $500 probably a speech.
Or $250 a speech and speaking 3 or 4 times a day.
So $700 at that point was a big deal. And she said, this is going to be $700. This person is going to come. And I said, oh. And she said, we really need it.
But we needed a database.
And she said...
And I had done the research.
Well, the lady comes and she's there for hours. And then she hands us a bill for like $2,500.
It wasn't $2,500.
It could have been $1 million as far as I'm concerned. I know we were way out of what I could afford. My budget was busted. I was upset. Because this was not what I got handed a bill of goods that was nowhere near what I expected. I was livid.
But he didn't say that to me.
I knew better than to say anything out of anger. Because I know that anger is the word danger without the D. Let me say that again. Anger is the word danger without the D. And the D is for discipline. You must have discipline in anger moments so you will not say something that will create a firestorm and you can't take back. So you have to be able to... Oh, our pastor just joined in. John K. Jenkins. We know, everybody knows we go to First Baptist Church. We love him. He's our pastor. And we told our assistant, Blondie Mohawk blonde that we now have online church that people can join. Online.
Yes.
So anyway, but anger is the word danger without the D. The D is for discipline. You must have the discipline to not speak everything that you think. So I took a ride. I was livid. I got in the car. I said, I'll be back. I went for a ride, and
so I paid the person.
She paid the person, and
he didn't scream. He went for a ride.
And when I got back, I told her, we can't do that again. It's too. But I didn't holler. I didn't scream.
His nostrils were flaring, just the whole bit.
And
But he didn't. He didn't raise his voice to me because that is what we had talked about. We had that Chinese food
incident, which was the night our marriage almost came to an end, where we got our rules of engagement.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to talk about, rules of engagement. You're going to disagree, but it's about we have rules, we have systems, so that when we have a disagreement, we can do so without being disagreeable, without being ugly, and not letting words come out of our mouths, because words are like toothpaste. Once they're out of the tube, you can't pull them back.
Okay, so let's go back.
All right, so go through our...
So here we go. We've got
roses.
Which is how we want to communicate with our spouses, even when we have to have difficult conversations.
And not rocks. It's not what you say all the time. It's how you say it. And we try...
So that your spouse will lean in and will want to listen to you.
Right. Yes. I always want to listen to you.
Yes, sweetheart.
Because she takes good care of her brother.
Okay, so here we go. So what are the roses?
Yeah.
So you already talked about, okay, you don't want to make those mistakes. So you don't want to talk out of anger.
Yeah.
Because anger is the danger.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't want to say, I want to get something off my chest.
You don't have.
You need to remove that from your vocabulary.
Stop using that for, I got to get off my chest. It's been building up. Now that goes right back to what we talked about in chapter 4 called stamp collecting. Stamp collecting is where, when we were growing up, I was growing up, my mama went to the grocery store, she got S&H green stamps, she'd collect them all, and when the book got full, then she'd redeem it for something. Well, the opposite stamp collecting is when you let stuff build up, and you don't talk about it right then. And then, for some reason or something small, after weeks of not talking about it, you explode, and your spouse has no idea why.
Because you got to get it off your chest.
I gotta get it off my chest. And we don't have that issue because we talk about whatever it is that's bothering us that day. We do not let the sun go down on our wrath. That's Bible. Just Bible says, do not let the sun go down on your wrath.
But then the problem becomes, how do I express myself before the sun goes down or before we go to sleep?
There we go to the 4 F's.
When I don't know how to express myself, because someone said to me, okay, so you always talking about positive interaction with your mate. I didn't come from that kind of household.
So they need new paradigms then. Okay, they need new system. We talked about when you leave.
My parents never talked nice to each other.
All right, so leave the drama with your mom.
I have no pattern.
Emulate. So we've been in radio shows. One of the questions called in was, what do you do in that moment? You leave the drama with your mama. Chapter number 5. You leave, you cleave, and you weave. You leave that drama, that household, leave it alone.
But you can't leave it if you are not aware that what you've done in the past or what was going on in that household is not positively serving you in this new relationship.
Well, that's where the conversation comes in. That's open conversation. So then you have, if there's somebody offended, you're offended, then you got to do the 4 F's. 4 F's. We can say it just about every week, and I've had more people come back and say, it works like butter. It works like butter.
Okay, give them the 4 F's.
Be friendly. Start off every conversation where it's difficult being friendly. When you're angry or hostile, it puts up defense mechanism. Be friendly. Be frank.
Wait, let's go back to being friendly, because we get that a lot. And then sometimes, people will say, well, I am pissed off. I don't feel like being friendly. I really want to hit him upside the head. Let's just keep it real. What am I going to do now? That's why the most
And then I'll say, here's what I say. Here's what I say. Take me to your leader. She looks like a Martian. Look, you gotta have some humor. You gotta have something that breaks that. You cannot come up in there mad because it won't work. Now, if you want this to work, it will not serve you well.
So you got to remember that I love this person, that I chose to marry you.
Yes,
right?
you did.
So that's the mulling around in the head that we were talking about.
Speaking of which, I got to say this.
Having a conversation with yourself.
Speaking of, she chose to marry me, and let me tell y'all something. It was only because I kept asking, and I was speaking today. I did a keynote speech about getting past no, and I used
to a sales group
about how I sold her on marrying me after 2 years of her telling me no, 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 and I sold her, and in a weak moment I got her to say yes, and that was it. So look, first of all, be friendly. Now be frank about your feelings. Be frank about your feelings. What does that mean? That is not pointing, you did this, you did that, you did. Here's how that made me feel. Now, Pastor Jenkins is on. He holds SBI. The difference between his and ours is I had 4S, but here's SBI, the situation, the behavior, the impact. Well, here was the situation, here's the behavior, here's how it impacted me. So we say be frank about your feelings. Tell them the truth. This hurt my feelings.
But then being frank about the feelings also says that when you're talking about it, you have to talk about the facts. This is what 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, something happened. The fact that you said
that's
the situation and the behavior. But then that's where that be frank about how it made me feel, rather than you are wrong or you can't tell what their motivation is. That's the main thing. Then 3, be fair. This is the big one because it's about listening. I'm willing to listen to your side. Now I've told you how it made me feel. What's your side? Maybe they have some explanation. Maybe
but you
that's
have to be willing to listen, not because you just want to hurry up and say what you're going to say.
That's true.
But you have to listen with the intent to get understanding, which then means you might have to ask other questions and then summarize in your own language to say, that's what you were saying? That's
a big part. We talk about in chapter 4 how you must listen and then listen aggressively in a sense by saying, did you mean this? Oh, you didn't mean that. Oh, you mean that. I didn't realize. So you must ask to get clarity. It's called clarity. What is that we teach in our communication class? Clarity. Those. I can't think of it. I got so much stuff in my brain.
You're like, okay, go ahead.
And then be friendly, be frank, be fair, and be focused on a win-win. We want to win.
You don't want to kill your partner.
No, and we want to win as a team.
You don't want to destroy their sense of self-worth. That is so important in the relationship.
Now, Dawad Sanders, how do you get and keep your spouse's attention when they no longer feel like talking, listening, especially just before it's time to go to sleep? If you don't establish this principle in your marriage and y'all have these agreements, then people will walk out the room on you. Now we don't. So
that takes time. So he's really talking about 2 things here. So we've got where they no longer feel like talking or listening. Okay, so that's one situation right there. Especially before it's time to go to sleep. That's something else. So maybe since you have not established the right kind of pattern, you're kind of like starting at the beginning. So if they say, no, I don't want to talk about it now. Okay. Well, then you can't talk about that now.
There is a thing called timeout. There are people say, I need a timeout. You should give them a timeout if they need a timeout. But if somebody is skirting, you have to have these conversations. That's not going to fix it. And let me tell you, every couple we talk to who was happily married over 30 years has said the same thing. Fix it before you go to bed. Don't take today's problems with you into tomorrow.
But if you've never done that before, and then suddenly it's like, oh, I got this book. It says that we should resolve our differences before I go to sleep. I mean, and they're used to slamming the door or having you sleep on the sofa. That's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
So it becomes a gradual thing.
Yes.
Okay, let us have, there's some things that I am thinking about, or here's some concerns, or here's what I'm feeling at this moment. Let's have a cup of tea together, a cup of coffee, and let me share something that I'm reading or I'm thinking about, and I want your input. So you don't go from howling and screaming or no, I'm not going to talk to you, to let us do kumbaya before we go to sleep. That doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. But here's what we do think. We go back to, and I can't say it enough, how many, we were on Wilma Leon's show the other day. We've had so many book orders today. We had boxes and boxes of book orders for people who we were on SiriusXM. We got to get that interview and make it available for people. It was really great. It was a great interview. Great. But here's what we told people. We've had a number of people who called us on their way to divorce court. On their way to divorce court and said, we're on our way to divorce court. Or one person was saying that. We say, oh, stop. Before you go there, get the book. Get 2 copies.
It's cheaper to keep them.
Get 2 copies. Get the bundle, in fact. Get the whole bundle. It's $100. $100 for the bundle. It's 2 books, 2 workbooks, audio book, and a CD seminar. Invest in your marriage. And how did Wilma say it? He said, if you were willing to invest in getting married,
that's what he said.
Doesn't it make sense at least you would invest in trying to stay married? He said it makes so much sense. Get the bundle. And he said, look, I know a lot of folks who I know who've gone through divorces, it's costing them $10, $20, $30, $50, $100,000 to get divorced, and even beyond that, and $100 could possibly. We have 100% success rate. 100% success rate. Everybody we've told to do it, to try it, it's worked. So that's all I got. Our time is up. It's 9:29. Take me to your leader.
I'm not going to say what I'm thinking.
Does she look like a Martian? I love it. You're the cutest little Martian I know. I love my wife.
What I'm thinking. Okay, we did not get to. Here are some kind words. Because there are people in relationships, they don't know.
All right, give them some of the kind words before we go.
Some kind words. Okay, I am better because of you. And I say that about you because I really am better because of you.
And
I'm certainly more patient. I have a sense of humor.
She didn't have one when we got married.
No. So you make me a better person.
And I say all the time that I was a wise man to marry her. My pastor, myself, and others, we're in the over-married club. We way over-married, and I'm the president of the club. My pastor can be the vice president. I got other friends who can be in leadership positions. But I am the president. I'm way over-married.
Okay, so here's another word. He talks for a living. You know, it's just, right. You got to go with it.
You turn me on. You turn me on.
Thank you, sweetheart.
She turns me on.
You make me proud to be with you.
Oh, that's good.
Okay?
That's good. That's good.
What a wonderful thing to say to your spouse. I am proud to be with you. I am proud to be out with you. I am proud to be seen with you.
We got, what was that? We got that acknowledgeable
yes.
Acknowledgeable marriage relationship?
Acknowledge.
No, it's not acknowledge. It's announceable.
Announceable relationship. Tell them quickly for those who might not know.
We were on another interview and the guy said he had been friends with this guy for years. And a guy during COVID said, oh yeah, I couldn't come for some of my wife. He said, wife?
He did not know. He hung out with his boys. He didn't know the man was married. He'd been friends with him all those years.
So here's the last thing we got to go. Our time is up. But here's what I tell baby girl all the time. I tell Dee all the time. I kept looking, and I kept looking, and I kept looking for somebody who I could live with till I found somebody I could not live without. That's her. I love her. I would crawl over broken glass to get to her. And if she leave me, I'm coming with her.
Thank you guys for being with me.
I love y'all. Thank y'all all for coming. Look, share this with Lottie Dottie and everybody.
We're doing a couplespreneur for some program on Wednesday about how couples work together.
We can send y'all if you're on our we'll send you the link. It's going to be a couplepreneur
that
session.
comes on at 7:30. 7:30
on Wednesday night.
On Wednesday
and remember,
night.
if you're still interested in going to our series that we're creating, which is a class, it's really a class, but it's sessions, 10 sessions, go to jollymarriage.com/series. jollymarriage.com/series. We're working on it. It's going to be a deep dive, because we only do a half hour here. It's going to be a deep dive. Our time is up. Love y'all. God bless y'all. Jolly out.